Sarah's Guest House. Our house, your home. Sarah's Guest House is a home away from home, a refuge in a storm of doctor's appointments, diagnoses, and uncertainty. It's a chance to feel like you're not alone in this journey, to embrace the emotional support and comfort that comes with a hot meal, a comfortable bed, a friendly ride, and the mutual support of others in similar circumstances. Sarah's Guest House started with a small dream of sharing hospitality with those in need. But that dream is about to get even bigger as we begin our second expansion into the other side of the Most Holy Rosary Convent. We plan to double our size, increase the number of guest rooms, add shared fitness and meditation spaces, and make the house handicapped accessible. We can't wait for our guests to enjoy an even more welcoming stay.
I'm Mary Keough, and I'm the founder of Sarah's Guest House. We officially opened in 1994. My dream at the time was that we would initially be able to take patients and their families. And so we had to kind of wait and develop that a little bit at a time. And we were in a tiny house, and that was a 4-bedroom house. To be able to have enough of a facility that we could take care of bone marrow patients and other patients that would have to stay longer than 3 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, just 3 months at a time. With this expansion, that dream will be accomplished. I was going through our history in picture form, and I came across one that was really quite humorous. It was one of the guests and myself in the front foyer on the floor doing leg exercises. So I'm really happy to know that there's going to be a private room for that now. We could never do it without the total community. We couldn't when we first started, and we can't now. That's why it's so important for people to know what we're doing and what we've accomplished and what we can accomplish. So we're grateful for all the help we've received and the help we will receive.
Hi, I'm Sister Helen, and I've been living next door to Sarah's Guest House from the beginning. And I've watched this go from just elderly people sleeping on cots at the hospital because they couldn't afford the hotels. It took off like nobody probably ever believed it could have. It just kept growing and growing and growing. When you see them come so sick and so troubled, and you meet them on the sidewalk, which is where I always meet them, and say, "How are you doing?" And they say, "They are so good to us. They are just so good to us." And you can feel, that there's that relief of some of the burden that they are working through. Plus, as you might not know, Sister Joan makes prayer cards that we slide under the door, and we get those a lot. And, they pour out their hearts about what their needs are. And of course, we're over there praying for them all the time. It's a gift house to all the people who come here. Unfortunately, there's not enough room on the first floor to make handicap suites. And that's what I hope they're going to be able to do if we move out, is accommodate those people who can't do the stairs and want this kind of a loving environment to get better in.
My name is Dr. Sheila Lemke. I work at Upstate Medical University. I'm a specialist in oncology. Well, I've been interacting with Sarah's Guest House for many, many years, dating back to probably 20 years ago when I first met Mary Keough. And over the years, I've just come to know it through my patients and all the care that they've provided. In Syracuse, we provide health care for people from all of the surrounding communities that are more rural and not able to sustain the type of new technology and healthcare delivery that we can provide in Syracuse. Bone marrow transplantation or other forms of organ transplantation. For those types of procedures, we look at patients spending upwards of 4 to 6 weeks at a time in the hospital or needing to be very close to the hospital, so that Sarah House can provide both a place for family to stay while the patient is in the hospital, but more importantly, when the patient is discharged from the hospital but needs to stay very close to a community where they can be cared for but also be transported to the hospital, it's really even more important. And by providing that health care, we really help people in their illnesses. But in order to do that, we have to have a safe place for them to stay while they're receiving that health care. Expanding Sarah House is so necessary in order to move the whole healthcare community forward in this region.
Well, my name is Carol Smith Falcone. I am currently the president of the board of directors for Sarah's Guest House. I do have a connection to a mission like this. I had a traumatic experience in my own life where my husband was injured and we were sent out of town for rehab, a place where I knew no one, and I had to be with him a good share of the day, but I had no place to stay. Long, lonely nights by myself, having to figure out how to eat, nobody to really talk to. I had lived in Syracuse for many, many, many years and yet had not heard of Sarah's House. But a good friend of mine was aware, and we came here together to volunteer after my husband passed away. And the feeling that you have when someone that you love has been injured or is so ill is just totally unnerving. And if you don't even know, you're worried about the person in the hospital and you don't even know where you can go catch a little bit of rest so that you can be back at their bedside, it's just so difficult. And what we offer at Sarah's Guest House is immeasurable. To know Sarah's Guest House is to love it. It really is. It's such a worthwhile mission to help people in moments that they just don't know where to turn.
My name is Renee McCaffrey and I am the development specialist for Sarah's Guest House. I've worked here now for just over 4 years. We've served 20,000 patients since we first opened in 1994. Now we will have the ability to, in doubling our size, serve that many more people who really rely on the house as a place to stay, to allow them the access to the health care they need that is really often life-changing. I really feel the house is transformative to people, both emotionally and even physically. It is a place of healing, but another thing that I see very often, it grounds people. The house seems to give people a real sense of stability and calmness when they're going through a real tumultuous time, and it seems to work its own magic because of the comfort and the homey feel that it brings to people. One of the main goals is definitely the handicapped accessibility. We do not have enough handicapped accessible rooms right now, so that's a big portion of this. But on top of that, it's more of the overall guest experience, having more space. I know quiet space has been mentioned and a fitness room has been mentioned. We also have plans for an elevator to get people to the second floor. We've never had that and it's been on our wish list forever. As fundraiser for Sarah's Guest House, I always say I'm a cheerleader for the house. And right now, really the point of what we're doing with just this video in general is to let people know this is happening. This is one of the most exciting things that has ever happened with the house. We're trying to let the community be aware of it. And also, as plans continue to be fine-tuned, we will definitely rely on the support of the hospitals, the local community, foundations, our donors, volunteers, and supporters to really make this a go. As they say, it will take a village to get this done, but the collective power of giving is what will make this house thrive, and we are just honestly so thrilled.
Hi, I'm David Haas, the Executive Director of Sarah's Guest House. In the last couple of years, we have turned away several hundred people who would stay at the house, but they can't, for either we're too full in the house and there is not space, or we only have 2 rooms downstairs that are handicap accessible and those rooms were taken. We need more space. So the expansion will allow us to accommodate more people and turn away a lot less people. When we expand, one of the huge things is the entrance is going to change from the front door to the left side of the building as you're looking at it. The old garage there will become our welcoming reception area that a guest can walk in and instantly be greeted by one of our staff, one of our volunteers as to how we can help you. We are working on it every day. When I tell you like every day it is touched on every day. It is a long process to even get to this point, but due to all the timelines and the applications and the permits, at times it's up in the air. We will own the building by the end of this year, and then the next steps will be coming as the months roll on.
As I think we all realize, the building is 50 plus years old. It's in great shape considering its age. I mean, structurally it's sound. You know, it's like anything else. There's some TLC that needs to be done on it, but it's in good shape. So right now, the current facility doesn't truly have accessible rooms. So it's a big part of the planning for the expansion that we provide some accessibility, truly ADA accessible rooms on that side. It involves a fair amount of reconfiguring of the expansion area, but again, we're doing it all within the footprint of the building with no structural changes. But we will be redoing plumbing and some of the mechanical systems, and a big part of this is we're really looking to sprinklering the building, which from a life safety fire protection point of view is really beneficial to the project, and it allows us to truly operate as this larger facility.
We've been inspired by the strength and resilience of so many of our guests and are proud to have been a small part of their journeys. Sarah's Guest House will soon be bigger, better, and warmer than ever, but not without additional community support. With your help, we can turn our house into a home for thousands of guests from around the country receiving medical care here in Central New York. Help us provide comfort, support, and much-needed peace to so many during their time of greatest need. To make a donation to Sarah's Guest House, please visit us online at sarahsguesthouse.org and click on Donate. Thank you.